Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you guys enjoyed part 4 to What If Asta had both Zagrid and the anti-magic devil living inside of him. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Alright guys, so I've been reading the comments section down below. And look, I know it, and I ain't going to do it this video, so I'm going to keep it short, straight to the point. Okay, so short and straight to the point. Look, I know I do that sometimes where I go off and I'm just not, it's not that I'm not focused on the what if, it's just like if I don't say it, I will forget it later, because I sometimes get forgetful. And I'm sorry, that's just how I am. It's a bad habit, and I'm trying to break it, but, you know, hey. Alright, guys, so I know I said I was going to do this Monday, but I said, you know what, I can just do episode 3 Monday. So, alright, so just a quick reminder, guys, tomorrow, alright, so from here on out, every Sunday, there will be no videos. Okay, there will be no videos released on Sunday. That's a day where I just kind of take off, and I just, you know, it's not that I don't mind doing this. I enjoy doing this. I love doing it. It's just that, you know, hey, sometimes you need to have a day for yourself. Alright, that's it. Okay, so, done with that. Alright, so here is to What If Eren Jaeger was Dracula from Castlevania. Episode 2, Alucard. Okay, so here is how this will, so before Gabriel Belmont became Dracula, he got his wife, his previous wife, Marie, pregnant. After he left, the Brotherhood of Light told Marie of what was going to happen to Gabriel, what he was going to become, and of course he was going to become Dracula. Now, of course, after she gives birth to a son, she names him Trevor, obviously Trevor Belmont. And of course the Brotherhood of Light takes the young Trevor Belmont and trains him up from his youth up. Now, so in a way, yes, Eren will already have a son. So, and guys, look, it's probably in this episode, I will, like, around this time when Trevor is reborn as Alucard, that's when Ymir basically gets the Titan powers. But that's a little bit later on down the road. But anyway, so and I'm probably gonna have to keep this video short, guys, because honestly I'm just tired and I want to go to bed. So I just need to crank out this what if real quick. So anyway, they trained Trevor to at least, and I would say he's rivaled his father in terms of combat. Shoot. I think I stepped on a splinter. Yeah, I got it out. Alright, so anyway, of course, Trevor, this is when the Brotherhood reveals Trevor of his lineage and who his father actually is. Tells him that yes, your father was Gabriel Belmont, but your father, Gabriel Belmont, became Dracula. So Dracula and Gabriel Belmont are one and the same. They are one person. They're both the same person, and they are your father, and he is your father. So your father's Dracula. Surprise. All right, now go and basically they say, all right, now we're gonna send you to go kill your father. And Trevor's like, okay, sure, why not? So basically, and what this would do is basically set up a kind of like a of course, I'll explain it later. I'm just kind of rushing through this real quick. So, and I don't like rushing, but I'm tired and I want to get this video done. So anyway, of course, Trevor, trained in the ways of the Brotherhood of Light. Once he gets there, he starts cleaving his way through hordes of demons, monsters, vampires, werewolves, you name it. He basically he's been plowing through them all, trying to get to his dad. Now, at the end of his little chain whip, now it's not the vampire killer. It's more like it's not going to kill you, but it's gonna put you to sleep for a little while. And at the end, it kind of has like that same sharp, pointy blade at the end of the handle that the vampire killer does. But anyway, moving on. Trevor finally makes it to the throne room, and he encounters his father. Of course, and Trevor says, "For you, monster. I'm going to get revenge for my mother. And then when I get I'll tell you my identity once I'm about to kill you." And this is when Dracula would just start laughing. He says, "How foolish. You see, I don't make it a goal to memorize all my victims' names. And after I finish you off, you won't be the same." And of course, this is when they both would do combat. This is when Dracula would bust out his shadow whip. And of course, obviously, seeing that this man that he's fighting is very skilled, and he says, "Huh, very interesting. It seems like I won't get anywhere with using a whip. If I had to give a good estimate, I'd say that you rival me in terms of the whip. However, how good is your swordsmanship?" And of course, this is when he would unleash one of his other powers that he got a deal from making a deal with Chaos. He unleashes the Void Sword. Now, if you were wondering what the Void Sword looks like, hold on, I'll show you. That is what the Void Sword looks like, what he's holding in his right hand. And basically, it can freeze anything it touches. It also drains the life of everything that it touches, except for the owner. So, obviously, it's not going to affect Dracula whatsoever. It's meant to only just steal life from enemies. And, of course, it can also create, like, storms, somewhat, and a little bit of electricity and stuff like that. I'll tell you what the flaming hand is all about, but that's later. So, hold on. Alright, so anyway, this is when he uses the Void Sword, and of course, this proves a little bit more challenging and more difficult for Trevor, as Dracula is very skilled in also both light and dark magic. This is when Dracula puts up his void sword and he starts casting a spell saying, "Dark Inferno." And of course, this is when he would launch basically basically a big gigantic ball of flaming magma, which incinerates anything it touches. And I'm just gonna say hellfire. So you really don't want to get hit with this. And of course, Trevor was like, by the skin of his teeth, he was able to get out of the way without getting hit. So he got lucky. And basically, they just keep on having this game of cat and mouse. Dracula would get some hits with his shadow whip, and Trevor would get hits with his chained whip. And this is when he says, "All right, enough playing games." And now I'm going to tell you about the flaming hands. Hold on. Alright, so if you're wondering why Dracula's from his hand all the way up to where his elbow is, why it's all on fire, that is called his chaos. It's called the chaos claws, or the chaos power. Basically, it's where he lights both of his hands from fingers to elbow, engulf in basically hellfire. Hellfire / chaos fire, which is a very strong fire. And of course, this shatters through Trevor's defenses. Now, the reason why the hellfire isn't basically why it's not, like, I mean, it's hurting him and it is burning him, but it's not like destroying his soul. Like he has to make like extremely long contact for, well, not extremely long contact, but just long enough contact to, like, for it to actually get into your soul. I'll have to explain what hellfire in the Castlevania universe actually does, because I've actually forgotten what it does. But let's just say you don't want to get hit with it, alright? It's not like normal fire, and it can't be put out like normal fire. But Trevor has some special enchantments to protect him from such things, and this is basically what's basically keeping him alive. He has some enchanted armor and stuff like that. So, of course, Dracula keeps on mixing up his attacks, and of course, this is when they take to the sky. Dracula grabs Trevor, his son, by the throat, throws him up into the air, and he turns it like into a swarm of bats, or like a cloud no, like he just turns into a cloud of mist, going up into the sky at very fast rates, and of course, he materializes. And this is when he just knocks Trevor down. And this is when Trevor falls upon his sharp handle and impales him. But he's still alive. He's not like he's dying, but he's not alive. And of course, this is when he rips out the chained whip that he got. Rips the bladed handle out from his chest. And basically, he's just sitting there bleeding out. And this is when he reveals his identity. Hold on. And this is when Trevor reveals his identity, saying, "Father." And of course, Dracula saying, "Father." He says, "Father." He says, well, Trevor says, "Father." Kind of has like a little bit of a British accent, a little bit. Don't ask me to do a British accent. I can't do it. Like, it's very weird. Like, I'd be like, "Father." Something like that. I don't know. But he says, "Father." And of course, Dracula says, "What are you talking about?" And of course, this is when Trevor points to the Mirror of Fate, and the Mirror of Fate shows Dracula who Trevor actually is, and this is when Dracula slash Gabriel Belmont realizes, oh my god, I just killed my son. He's like, I just impaled my son. And of course, while Trevor still has some life in him, this is when Dracula bites his wrist, and he puts the blood, Dracula puts his blood inside Trevor's mouth and forces Trevor to drink it. And of course, Trevor drinks it, but he basically kind of passes out. Now, obviously, Dracula thinks his son is dead. And since he doesn't know what his son's actual name is, he just calls him. He decides to give him his vampire name and calls him Alucard. So, yep, that's how Alucard got his name, Alucard. And of course, he puts him in a casket, and of course, the casket says Alucard. And he puts this in Castlevania, and he puts it to where, and basically this is when he wreaks bloody vengeance upon all of humanity. Now, obviously having to switch points from Alucard to Dracula. So, like I said, guys, I'm going to be telling this from different perspectives. So, obviously, Dracula, enraged by what has happened, because his castle can teleporting to different countries and just sending his hordes of demons and monsters out to just slaughter every single human being, and mainly going after the Brotherhood of Light. He says, I will wreak down my vengeance upon the Brotherhood of Light. Now, there is something that I should say. Before Trevor, left to go fight his dad, he got married to his wife, he got married to some girl, to some woman. Yeah, he got married to some kind of, it doesn't really say what her name was, but Trevor, he gets married to this female, this girl, this woman. I'll just give her a name. I'll call her Anna. I'll just call her Anna. And considering the times, that wasn't an uncommon name. And no, I'm not naming her after Frozen, so no. Forget you guys. But anyway, of course, he gets Anna pregnant, and Anna, she gives birth to a son, Trevor's son, or Alucard's son, and of course names him Simon Belmont. Of course, Dracula, after Simon has grown up, probably about 6 to 7 years old. Let's just say 6 to 7 years old. This is when Dracula is releasing all of the demons and monsters to go kill and slaughter every single human that they can find. And of course, he also has, Dracula also possesses weather manipulation. He possesses, he can cause an entire curse on an entire country. His curses can extend to almost it actually states that his curses could extend over the entire world if he wanted to. He just chooses to do it to each country to let other countries know that he is coming for him, to put more fear into them. And of course, one of Dracula's monsters or demons kills Simon's mom, and of course Simon runs to the mountains, and he's trained by a bunch of they're called the White Knights, and of course they train Simon into adulthood. Now, of course, after some years, this is when we would switch back to Alucard's perspective. He starts waking up. Of course, he wakes up with white hair, grayish, palish skin, yellow golden eyes. And this would be exactly what he's wearing, because that's what his dad dressed him in. And this is when he would resurrect as a vamp. Well, not resurrect, but basically how Alucard restates it, reborn as a vampire. Saying that Trevor is dead, all that remains is the vampire Alucard. Now, Alucard more or less has his dad's abilities. Of course, they are slightly weaker. Of course, they are more slightly weaker than Dracula's, but nonetheless, they are still very powerful. So, I mean, they're not like... I mean, they're all... Like, he has half of chaos inside of him, so therefore he can only use half of the powers... well, not use half of the powers, but he can only use the powers... like, he can use them to their fullest extent. They just won't be as effective as Dracula, who has the full... who has full chaos living in him. Because remember, he made a deal or a pact with the Chaos Realm, or the Chaos Dimension. And, you know, become... So, but anyway, that's besides the point. Of course, Alucard roams the castle. Of course, he finds some enslaved humans. Of course, obviously, he sees some of them on the verge of death from being not fed, or not having enough water, or just from almost being beaten near death. So, of course, he just does the honorable thing. And, of course, he's also a little bit weak, so he also needs to gain his strength. So, he's basically killing two birds with one stone. He's granting them mercy, and, of course, he's getting his strength back up and making him more powerful. So, of course, he drinks their blood, killing them instantly. And, of course, he keeps on doing it until, well, he's back at full strength. And, of course, until there's no more prisoners. And, of course, this is when he finds the broken... hold on, I'll show you guys. Oh, hold on. Oh. Hold on, guys. And this is when he finds... Alright, so remember how I said how the broken off piece of the vampire killer, like at the end of the handle, how it was going to come into play? Well, he finds the broken piece, and this is when he's able to forge his sword, the Crucigram. Hold on, I didn't say that right. The Crucigram. Yeah, the Crucigram. So I'll show you what the Crucigram looks like. Hold on. Kind of looks like this. I can show you a better picture. Hold on. Looks like that, a little bit more up close. But that's what it really looks like. So, yeah. But anyway, of course, after he forges the Crucigram, he finds out, oh, I can store weapons inside of a pocket dimension, in my own little personal pocket dimension. So yeah, he has that ability. And he's actually proven that he's actually still, I mean, he still has his chain whip, but he puts it like, but he hardly ever uses it, but he still stores it into his pocket dimension, but he hardly ever uses it. He's actually become a very skilled, and actually he's become a master at swordsmanship. So he's a master with the sword. And obviously, this is when he says, "Can't believe I've been reborn as a vampire. Trevor is dead. All that remains, I'm reborn as Alucard, the vampire, the son of Dracula." Now, of course, around the same time, Simon Belmont is also making his way to Dracula's castle to get revenge on his mother and, yeah, on his mother's death. And of course, Alucard is, you know, discovering and awakening to all of his vampire abilities. One of them, obviously, being telekinesis, which is an ability that Dracula also possesses. Now, he rivals in telekinesis, he rivals Dracula in that. And in speed, he rivals Dracula also in that. And also in transformations, like shape-shifting, and all that, he also rivals his dad. And he's also, learned actually a lot of magic by going into Dracula's library and reading up on all the magic and studying and actually mastering quite a lot of magic spells. Now, obviously, not as powerful as some of the magic spells that Dracula has, because Dracula has mastered, like, ancient magic. Like, very, like, you could say divine magic, almost. Since he's, basically the embodiment of chaos, he has access to things that most people have. Most people wouldn't ever gain access to. But since Alucard only has half of chaos inside of him obviously being the son of Dracula and also being the same type of vampire as Dracula, and of course, drinking the blood and having the blood of Dracula run through his veins, obviously he gains a little bit of, he gains half access. He doesn't gain full access because, well, one, he all that. So, yeah, basically, he's mastered quite a lot, and, he's also a master at hand-to-hand combat, which Dracula is also a master at hand-to-hand combat. Now, I did say, guys, in this video, I was mainly going to be explaining more about Dracula's abilities and Alucard's abilities. So, yeah. But as we continue on with more of the episodes, I will explain even more of their abilities and powers and all that. Even their fighting styles and, again, all that. So, anyway, of course, he teams up with his Alucard teams up with his son Simon, but Simon doesn't know Alucard is his dad. But he just says, "You know what? I'll take all the help that I can get." And of course, even though they don't kill Dracula, they more like put him into a deep sleep, kind of like how But this is when, after Simon left Castlevania, Dracula's castle, Alucard is just there with his dad's body, and of course he puts the Crucigram back into its pocket dimension. He says, maybe I can help my father, or maybe I can help father get back onto the right path, and and maybe we can work together. And of course Alucard, he does go explore the world, and he can see why Dracula has hated humans, why humanity. He's like, okay, I understand why my dad is doing this. Now, I may not agree with everything, but like, there are some evil humans that need to be, taken out, especially the Brotherhood of Light, because it seems like the Brotherhood of Light isn't all that lightful. And of course, after 100 years, Dracula awakens. Of course, he's fully healed. And of course, he goes back on another rampage and continues his war against humanity. Now, of course, remember, around this time, this is when Ymir finally, awakens the Titan powers, and of course, her daughters, and they start having Titans. And of course, this is when you get the 9 Titan shifters. And of course, all the Eldians from there on out transform into Titans, and then you got Titans. So Dracula and Alucard. So Alucard heads back to Dracula's castle, Castlevania, and he says, "Father," and Dracula says, "Alucard." He says, and Alucard says, "Father," and Dracula says, "I don't blame you for what you did." He says, "Matter of fact, I forgive you for what you did. It's all right." He says, and Alucard says, "So are you still continuing your war on humanity?" And this is when Dracula says, "Of course I'm going to continue my war on humanity. Humanity, humans, mankind is irredeemable. They are filled to the brim with evil. And of course, Alucard says, yes, some of mankind is evil. Some of mankind is evil. Some humans are evil. Humankind, there are some of humankind that is evil, and I agree with you. They need to be exterminated. And he says, and Dracula says, so you agree with me then? He says, to a certain extent. He says, and this is when Dracula says, so I'm guessing you're here to tell me about those big, gigantic humanoid monsters that they're calling Titans. Let me guess, you think that was because of me? And Alucard says, no, I can tell they're not part of you. Because they don't have any connection to chaos, to the chaos realm. And of course, this is when Dracula says, so you too also have a connection with the chaos realm. That's what I figured when my blood was running through your veins again. He says, so son, will you help me wipe out humanity? Help me wipe out humankind. Mankind, humanity. Wipe them all out. And Alucard says, we will only go after the evil humans. The evil. He says, we will only go after the evil humans. The evil humankind. The evil mankind. You know. We will only go after evil humans. He says, and then we'll also gain information about these Titans. Now we are currently caught up, and of course, let's just say, just 1,000 years. Okay, just 1,000 years later, we are now caught up to where Attack on Titan, where the anime first starts off. But I'm going to leave it here, guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. Tell me what you guys thought about this episode. And don't forget to share this video with all your friends on your social media platforms. And be ready for episode 3 on Monday on What If Eren Jaeger was Dracula from the Castlevania series. Episode 3, Father and Son. Alright, so without further ado, guys, see you guys later. And peace out, my homies.